not recording. So yeah, you can talk about it now. That's a good. Thank God you were talking about that instead of actual.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't recording my audio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you recording now?
Yes, I have been recording.
Okay. So around I think maybe 2014, or it was somewhere around like 2014 or 2015 or so. I was taking a long hiatus from Madness because I had other obsessions in my crazy demented brain to focus on. But when I was mostly active on Skype uh, and Discord eventually until I finally had a microphone. And around that time, I think it was either in 2015 or 2000, early 2016. I could actually check. I sent a DM to Kelzad asking to be in Green Pepper Studios because I saw that like it was a cool little group, and I think I had already spoken to Gabriel Barsh around that time, and he actually considered it. He's like, I'm gonna talk to the council. I'm gonna talk to the staff members. I didn't fit the criteria anyways, but I was surprised that he actually considered it. And I would watch his tutorials and live streams, and I thought he was really like animated and funny. So as time went on, uh, I eventually discovered Discord was a thing, and I was in like friend servers and shit like that. And I actually had no idea that I think yeah, it was Sethik and Billy who had their Skype profiles like readily available to. I think it was like somewhere fucking on their Newgrounds profiles, and I added them both on Skype mid live stream when I think they were doing one of the incident 002As where you could actually go on the stream and you could hear Billy right as I add him on Skype, and he's like, oh, what's this? Jackson Segel? Oh, I remember him. He just added me on Skype. So later on, I had a Skype conversation with him and Sethik. I also had Sethik, and it was that Skype conversation was one of the best fucking Skype conversations I've ever had in my life. Um, I think yeah, Gabriel Barsh also joined too, and it was really funny. He watched Janner cartoons. We had a good laugh. So later on, oh yeah. Also, I was saying that one day I'd like to meet Kelzad. He seems really fucking funny, and I'd just like to talk to him about Madness, the good old days, and stuff like that. And Sethic's like, he's active in the GP Discord server. You can like maybe hop in there, and if you can catch him, then you can talk to him. He can like, I think he said he might put in a good word for me, or I don't fucking know. But I joined the server. Dasker was actually one of the first people I've ever spoken to, and Kelzad was like I think he was in the Abin VC, talking with Billy, but he was at his dad's place, so he was going to go to bed. Then, I think the next day, Kelzad went into the Populous VC. Well, like I think it was General or like Madness Creationing, whatever it was called at that time, and I instantly hit it off with him by just doing my Kelzad impression, because I think I did it previously in Skype conversations with Billy and Seth, and they said it sounded pretty close. And I did it with Kelzad, and he laughed. He's like, haha, that sounds just like me. That's pretty good. And I mean, as time went by, as time went by, I kind of climbed up the social hierarchy of GP considerably. I mean, it took a while for him to like actually drag me into the admin VCs when I would ask him to, but I was just doing like the classic sort of kissing ass thing where it's just like telling jokes that he's previously done in his voice, or just bandwagoning for just weird shit that goes on in the community. Um, I mean, same actually for even people in the server too, for members that Kelzad just thought was annoyingly quirky and shit like that. So I think I'm trying to remember. I remember Kelzad already made it clear to me that he's like there are certain things that I don't like people saying to me. That I just hate it when people say it in general. And the number one thing is you never ask Kelzad, "Hey Kelzad, can I ask you a question?"
Why?
He said, "Never ask that to me." Because people ask me that all the time, and I hate hearing it, and I'll get really mad if you ask me that. So, I mean, like he made tons of shit clear to me of what I should and shouldn't do around him and his myths because it'll just trigger him. I mean, so some of them were like super pedantic, but the one that I just remember sticking out to me was just like never asking him if if I can ask him a question. So as time went on, I think what in retrospect would help was that I knew some of the mods and that I communicated with them beforehand, and I think they kind of. I mean, they like me, and they didn't really see me too much as a danger. And I would always bandwagon with Kelzad to, or just suck up to him to get close to him, because I genuinely wanted to like be a Discord friends in air quotes, because I thought it was really funny and that I could maybe like hopefully learn his trade of madness animation, because looking back around that time, like back when I was animating then, in comparison to Kelzad, like I was terrible. So that was like kind of what my goal was in GP, to make friends and get better at animating. So as time went on, like there was I think a couple times Kelzad and I would just sit in VC and watch when he was able to, we'd like watch animations, old animations, make fun of them. I think a couple times we played Killing Floor in Gary's mod, and we I think we'd also make fun of Amethy around that time too when she was with Sean, and that was pretty much like every day. I also continuously ask him how I could work my way up the ranks to get into GP, to be a part of that inner circle, which would eventually culminate to nothing. Later on, I think my first bit of drama that I encountered was I think it was just Sean in general being creepy, or just Sean complaining about Kelzad, and he was still with Amity around that time, and I think he was I don't know, I think it was just I think looking back he was asking, like he was planning his rant video and he was asking
Yeah, just
questions.
take all of it. Yeah, take all of it. I'll take a little bit of it. Like I'll try a little bit of it, and if I like it, then I'll yell at you for eating my quesadilla.
All right.
Oh shoot, I'm muted. I'm muted.
So yeah, I think I do remember getting some it's like inside information about Sean from Kelzad, especially with like him posting his cock in Club M, and like all that weird shit. So I mean like as far as enemy like most wanted or enemies of GP, Sean was already high up on there. I think the second one was DJ Janner, because him like Kelzad and him, mostly due to like the Realm soundtracks, they'd always have their falling outs, at least according to Kelzad. And there was also Josh, because like J-Soul, because of his hyperbolic behavior and him posting that Junji Ito comic of that kid squeezing a pimple grease all over that one girl, which really upset Wolf and just Kelzad in general. I think I think Josh is also another punchline of Kelzad for his sprites, where Jason like did and still does speak highly about his sprites. Where at least back then we would just like point and laugh. So things eventually hit a peak when the Madness Betrayal collab happened. When I mean, originally I think there was supposed to have some more GP involvement in it. That it was the original intent was just to riff on the whole thing that Kelzad was moving on to Cheshire because Janet didn't want to do soundtracks for him anymore for Realm. So I think yeah, like we were all making our parts. I remember I was talking with Seth long ago that we like Seth and I think a friend of his and Mick had an idea to make a collab just to make fun of Janner because making fun of Janner is like you know nothing new in Madness because he's such a baby. And I wanted I wanted to do something similar in that vein. So I did those two betrayal parts, and I gave them to JSOL first, and then I shared it with the other members of the staff in GP. And then what happened was the GP team they were in distress, and by the GP team I mean I mean Kelzad and Billy. They're like, don't give this to JSOL. This cannot be in the collab because I think they recanted like a similar incident previously when I think it was in Gabriel Barsh's E collab where Elvis made a part where it was "I'm back, I'm leaving, I'm back, I'm leaving," and everyone's air quotes everyone in the involved said to Gabriel, "Do not fucking put that in the collab because you're just gonna throw a tantrum." And he put it in anyways, and then Jenna threw a tantrum. So they thought that they expected something similar if Jason were to put that in, especially since I went like the whole extra distance of like putting pictures of his face in and his wife and his infante. And so like yeah, obviously Janet threw a super fucking tantrum. He threatened to leak the Realm soundtrack. He threatened to I think call the police on JSOL if I can remember correctly. He complained to Tom Foe, and the cartoon got taken down, obviously. And I think yeah. Then what happened was I wasn't really aware of Alder Chat around that time, but I guess it was like the prototype of that for GP where they were mentioning Polish people, Polish hackers, and stuff like that. I wasn't really, I still wasn't let in completely on the loop, but I had like I'd received like all that I got on my end was just that Jenner was supposedly hiring some like Polish hacker of some kind to fuck with Kelzad, along with releasing the beginning of like Realm 4 that Janner was using as a placeholder. So what happened eventually was I even remember I was up for a long time for like day into night, and we were just like discussing what the fuck we're gonna do. The staff meeting of store set for some reason I was let in on, but later on that night, in the middle of the night, one of the mods' friends, or I think boyfriend around that time, actually under commission of Kelzad, or not commission, but under the command of Kelzad, like actually doxed the supposed hacker, or the person that was gonna fuck with JSOL. I mean, not JSOL, gonna fuck with Kelzad. So yeah, then that person got doxed. Then nothing, at least on my end, I can remember happening after that. I think with like something older chat related afterwards was there. I think was the cool.swift that the whole server went into lockdown after like some word went around that there was some screamers or just the cool.swift being spread around GP, and that it was older chat. And previously, before, I had gotten a DM message. I forget who it was, but it was just scat porn. It was kind of gross. And he's like, oh, Billy's like, oh, I want to see. And I sent it to Billy. He's like, oh, that's gross. So later on, I think like casual server activity around that time was making fun of Shoot the Cheese, making fun of Sean, making fun of Janner, because like, you know, why not? I think even making fun of Dasker too, if I can remember correctly. But then we would make fun of Amethy a lot. But around that time, like after making some photoshops of her and Joey's World Tour snorting a condom and shit, Amethy jumped ship from Sean to Kelzad, and things became more clear about Sean as time went on. Like I know that she disclosed more personal information about Sean to Kelzad than me or anyone else. Around that time too, I was also invited into the staff group chat called it was called the Austin chat, where like it was nothing but complete unfiltered banter between GP. It's like legit unfiltered Kelzad behavior of like shit talking, of making fun of people, all that shit. And Sean was like number one in terms like he was like the top person to riff on. So we Amethy shared information that Sean was actually working on an exposure video. He was gonna make, in Sean's words, like a content comp version of GP.
So, yeah, have a good night.
Huh?
Have a good night.
Good night.
Alright.
Sean was gonna make a GP content comp, and unbeknownst to him, after even though that he broke up, or Amethy broke up with him, she still had access to the script that he was working on, the Google Doc file. So Amethy, whenever she could, or whenever she has the opportunity, when Sean was like offline, she would like make copies of it and share it with Kelzad as to what's going to be in it. And it was a constant riff that me and Kelzad would have, that we had the script the whole time. Sean doesn't fucking know, fucking idiot. We I think unbeknownst to, I think at the time Sean was interviewing GP staff and certain mods who, according to Kelzad, later had regret of doing so. So then we were constantly Kelzad was constantly like up in arms with Sean, where it was just constant bickering between the two of them. And I think most of it was motivated by believing Sean going to Kelzad. And I mean, like, going into the lore of Sean is just like a conversation onto itself. But it was pretty bad. So what happened eventually was me and Kelzad were we were in a, like, I think Abin VC, just me and him. I think it was around the same time when we got the famous War Begin, or it was like way before that. But I think it was way before that. But me and Kelzad were in Abin VC, and we were talking about, we were just doing like the classic riffing on Sean and all that. And we're like, dude, I want to just like read through the script and just make fun of it. And I'm like, hell yeah, let's do that. I'm talking about my history with Kelzad.
Of course.
If you want to stick around, I'm at the part where I was making a response video to Sean. So me and Kelzad was at his dad's house or apartment, as I recall. He was on his phone, and we went through the latest edition of the script that Sean made, and I had a Blue Yeti at that time, and I would just talking. I would just like do a Sean impression, reading through the whole thing. Kel's like, Jackson, you should fucking record this. You should record this as a fucking video. So yeah, like me, I recorded myself as Sean with some additional improv too. And Kel's like, dude, we should make like a fucking response video to Sean as a response video to show that we had the script the whole time. And I would get to work on that. And around that same time, I think Sean was still in GP. He did the Genesis thing, which I also recorded, which went on for like what felt like an eternity. So after that, I think Kelzad banned Sean. I think they were looking for some reason to ban Sean for like ever, and I think they banned him under the reasoning that he made an alt in GP, which is a no-no, and they got banned for that. I also made like I think I like deepfake Kelzad's OC's face on Dirty Harry, and he shoots Sean, which for the fuck of it. I also did edits of that for Kelzad just to, praise him, shit like that, kiss ass. So Sean made the rant video. I made the response video. The response video was shit. Just terrible. I think Sean still has it. I don't have it. Then I think afterwards, Kelzad started to become more distant from just people in the server. I think, at least according to him, he was going to be working on Realm or like playing WoW or Rust. So, I began to like talk a whole lot more with the mods, especially like Swift, who was called Sarah back at that time, and I began to form like more of a relationship with them. I even met Swift in real life too, which is great. I met Jason later on afterwards, and I began forming a relationship with those peeps. So I think Kelzad was distant. I do remember at a certain time too, I was going through a pretty bad funk in life, contemplating suicide, the works, and I would also like vent to Carla at that time too. Carla being Amethy, because she shared she and I shared like similar experiences when it comes to like anxiety, depression, mental illness, you name it. And I think around that time I spoke to Kelzad, and I think I don't think he, to my best recollection, he had the greatest amount of interest. I mean, he did have concern, but he wasn't exactly invested into the whole thing. So, and I do know Amethy was. She was definitely sympathetic towards me. So, I think after that, Kelzad became like GP started becoming like GP began being run more like CRM in terms of like strict moderation, but also at the same time trying to have the image or just the whole look of being the definitive Madness server to go to, not like instead of CRM. And I do recall early on when Spirit went to Kelzad to actually discuss things between the two of them, to put differences aside and to actually work together and like get the tension between the both of them and to level things out. But Kelzad was like still shit talking them around that point. And that it's like he was shit talking Spirit saying, dude, look how he fucking organizes the server. Look at all the text channels, the VCs. It's so autistic. It's so AIDS. And I think he was like given a moderation role at that time too, and unbeknownst to me, he had that famous plot of his. So, he was trying to run GP more like CRM. Things were like way more strict, and I was kind of testing their resolve, and at the same time, Swift was being more lenient with people that wasn't really going with their agenda of trying to maintain that. So it's like unbeknownst to me, I was on like a blacklist of theirs, along with like Spots, JSOL, Dissension, Luca, whoever. They just didn't like, and I would just like I would just test the rules because I among them just thought it was kind of just dumb, and it was mostly I think it was I was posting like a couple of gifs or gory gifs from movies that earned me warnings, and I got another warning by making fun of Daron. Um, Also, before that, I can't remember if it was before or after, but Kelzad said to me, Jackson, if you want to spend more time with me, if you want to play games with me, I'm gonna get World of Warcraft, and you gotta get World of Warcraft too if you want to play games with me. So I did, and Swift actually, because I had no money, she bought for me the subscription, like the whatever you have to pay to like play World of Warcraft in full. So I was playing World of Warcraft with Kelzad. I don't remember much about it. I guess it was just boring. I do remember though, which to me was kind of like the writing on the wall that things are going downhill, and that Kelzad really just didn't. He doesn't really show that much of I don't know, humanity towards me. To me, like he thought of me like more of like a PR asset, because I guess I was more of like a direct link from the admin VC, from the inner workings of the GP admins to the GP populace. I guess kind of like Soud. But when I was one day when I was on WoW with him, he said to me out of the blue, "By the way, Jackson, I kind of consider you as a friend now." And I said thanks. And he's like, "Oh yeah, but I'm only saying that because Kyle told me to." So to me, I kind of saw that as the writing on the wall that things were going to go downhill from there. And him and I, we did divulge personal information. Keld was like admitting to me that he was saying that his father and his mother are both divorced. His brother's a mute, and he has mild autism, and that he has a little bit of an ego. So, as time goes on, uh, yeah, I think that's when the whole server being run by CRM went through that downfall. That was very distant, and whenever I do get the chance to DM with him, he would always say that he's busy, but he always like kind of downplayed the whole thing. That he'd said he'd also admit that Carla Amethy sometimes acts out on emotions and stuff like that when she moderates, which isn't good. But over time, me and the group of like what would eventually become like the GP refugees became to realize that the mod system is being run terribly, and that Kelza just didn't really care. And unbeknownst to us, he just wanted us out. So it culminated to one day when the hearing room incident happened. When I forget, I think what started was Jason always likes to show the progress of his sprites, and he posted it. He posted his sprites in our channel where you can like showcase your sprites and stuff like that. And with the GP staff, they really like to blow out of proportion their rules, especially when it comes to spamming, where like some sort of con that you can do would count as spamming, like posting three or four images in like a quick succession would count as spamming. Or in this case, when JSOL uploaded a sprite, it updated like an update to a sprite that he was making that looked slightly similar or slightly different compared to the other one previously. She said that counted as spam, and then I think she deleted it, and there was like people were complaining to her, and she said, "No spamming allowed. This is a serious art channel." So they all ripped on that, then the hearing room incident happened, where they essentially had like a edgy courtroom that was really just a ripoff from the CRM courtroom, and it culminated. I could find the pictures too, the chat logs, and it culminated into everyone except for Awas getting banned, and also Swift leaving because like yeah, because they wanted her out too. So I got a DM from JSOL when I was coming home from the city one night, and he said I got banned from GP, and my initial thought was you must have done something to like piss them off. And then when I figured out like how fucking trivial it was, I'm like, oh my god, you got to be kidding me. So like the night of reckoning for like the state of GP is like whether or not we should leave or go was like to me, like I understood that GP is just terrible and Kelzad is just like kind of spineless and just disingenuous, maybe even a liar too. So I DM'd Kelzad and I asked him what the fuck happened like that one night, because I didn't tell him that I got the sit rep on everything, that I got debriefed, however you want to call it. And I also got like insider information. I think it was from Swift, who in the admin chat there was an actual blacklist. Like there was there's an actual list of people where it's like these people are terrible and we need to figure out like how to get them out of the server. So one so I Kelzad, I asked him if I could call him, and he said, yeah, tomorrow, to just discuss the whole thing. And I said to like the group chat like that we were in after the whole great banning of GP. I said like, all right, this is gonna be the time of reckoning to see if Kelzad like actually has integrity, if he's gonna lie or not. And I had a call, like I spoke with him in Avon VC, and he lied and he downplayed the whole fucking thing. He downplayed the whole fucking thing as them trying to rally against GP and the mods. And like, all right, that's it. I'm done. I'm done with the whole thing. Because even previously, when I left the server for a bit and I joined back, Amethy lied to me saying that everyone hates me, even though I asked everyone and she said that wasn't the case. And that, along with Kelzad saying that just downplaying the whole thing of people who are like actual friends in real life to me, I'm like, I'm not gonna value his use for me as like, you know, like as him showing less humanity, like humanity or acts of friendship or anything of any sentiment of the sort like that to me. I'm not gonna devote myself to him instead to people who actually, you know, hold sentiments of friendship towards me. So I'm like, no, I'm done. Eventually, we did the classic rate of GP, where out of anger and spite, we just posted a bunch of we just spammed the whole server with I think Papa Bless and I forget who else. I think posted like scat porn and pictures of gore. So and then like we were done with GP, but the greatest regret of mine looking back was just how I had like I wasn't being myself towards Kelzad over the course of 2 years. I was just sucking up to him. I mean, don't get me wrong, I had a fun time when it came to bantering with him and just making fun of whatever, watching funny videos. But in retrospect, I was just giving him so many kind gestures with very little from him coming in return. He was super reserved, and when it came to a time when he asked me to pit like one side over the other, when the other side showed me like more, like as I said before, more more kind sentiments to me than from him, it it was just the biggest bit of regret, and just I don't know, it was just a big waste. especially with how much personal information that I divulged to him, which also he could use against me. So he, like, to me, Kelzad's a really, really disingenuous person. I like to say that he doesn't value anybody as a friendship. I'm not so sure about that, but I think to others he views them more as personal assets than people that he can really connect with. Because that's the way that I see him act with Billy and all the other mods. He can have a fun time with them, but he will not show like kind acts of sentiment of like actual humanity. I think he can discern like what's right from wrong, but it is kind of like talking to somebody or an autistic person who doesn't understand people and just takes advantage of them to a certain extent. I mean, the greatest storm, the perfect storm for him is that not only do like people kind of in a sort of like cultish way they look up to him, I guess because of his eclectic personality, but with Billy, it might be harsh to say that he's spineless, but he really he can't think for himself when he acts under the command of Kelzad, which works greatly in Kelzad's favor. And to me, that's really unfortunate because Billy's a nice person. But to me, like for me, that was my whole history with him, and that's what I've seen. There's some other pedantic shit that I could mention if I remember it, but that's just a brief summary of my whole history with Kelzad and GP.
Alright. Yeah, that's
Hmm?
it.
Before that, like honestly, like I didn't actually know any of this information until now. It's thank you for sharing that. Like a lot of it seems like really personal to you. Like
Yeah.
appreciate you like going out of your
Yeah.
way to share that.
That was, yeah, that was pretty.
The highs and lows of that server too around that time. Kelzad would never give me any admin abilities, even though he like gave admin abilities to those who did like way less in terms of like sucking up to him. I think what he did as a sort of mind game was to make it like to ensure my dedication. He'd make it seem like the server has some kind of greater goal or greater mystique or just some sort of exclusiveness to it. That to get into the inner circle, you need to be a super dedicated person. Nowadays, he says that like before, like eventually afterwards, at least from what Sound said, that he said that I'm kind of funny but a bit stupid. Then eventually said that I'm totally unfunny. John was my personality, and that he never liked me from the beginning, and that I was never loyal.
Well,
Like thinking about that now, like I've seen like Raven like show like the chat logs of like her like Jib and stuff. It's like it really is evident like how much he's kicked around by Kelzad. That's just what he told me to make everything like a lot worse. Like he really is just like Kelzad's like punching bag. It's fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Wish the best for him, man. I wish he gets out of that like eventually. Like it's for his mental health.
For Kelzad or for Billy?
No, for Billy. Like I
Yeah.
feel horrible for him.
I don't know about Billy. I really don't. But things look bleak for GP in general. For the relationship with Amethine and Kelzad, like for both of like how those two are aside, things are pretty bleak for them. Especially for the mods when they figure out that once they have their moment of reckoning, they're gonna like really question all of their efforts towards Kelzad, and for him to eventually double down and say, "You were never loyal to me from the beginning."
Yeah. Like I want to know like when like people like Son are gonna like finally snap because
Yeah. Because I was in on like a lot of inside information for like at least the way that they chalked it up to be like inside information for GP. I was around for like the at least when in the admin VC when they were going through the highs and lows, their panics. I would give in my interpretations of what to do, all that shit. And he says I was never loyal to them.
holy shit, the biggest lie I've ever heard. Like, to be honest, it was like I kind of weird like seeing like how like seeing you be friendly with GP because like nowadays like you would just like shit talk Kelzad and like make fun of him, but like seeing like how you got from being like absolutely buddy buddy with him to like where you are now, it's like it's the most interesting part of it to me.
The thing with him, like, I think what best describes him as his personality is it's always like you stand like a 90 something percent chance of like gaining his attention or liking when you suck up to him and praise him and stuff like that. Give him positive attention or positive energy. But the moment that you criticize him, he's either going to defend it with like anything possible, even with strawman arguments or whatever, or he would just relentlessly shit talk you or do anything that he can to just make you look like not just like a bad person, but somebody in no place to criticize him, which to me is just scummy. And I've seen him do it too, and I've even like egged it on as well, and like praised him for doing that.
And I feel like people like Son are unfortunately like heading down that path too. It's like spoken to him a couple times. I just like I've been like really nervous around him because I feel like if I say anything negative against him, he's just gonna like use that against me because I'm sure he knows about. I'm just like in general, just like that general group of people, which like makes me like super antsy. As they appear to be, like they just like make me super anxious.
Yeah, it's at the end of the day, it's just mostly for Kelzad's ego. By the way, are you still recording?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Shit.
No, it's fine. I
I
don't
can
care.
stop if you want.
No, No, you can keep going. I'm trying to remember some other shit too. I
I
mean,
just want
there's a ton of shit now that like me and Kelzad discussed and like vocally that he would deny. He like Kelzad denies ever saying that he considers me as a friend under saying that under the duress of Amity. He also denies saying that or doesn't remember that he said Sentry is the smartest person in the server, but I don't want him to become too smart. He denies saying that for some reason,
Wow.
which is like a really suspicious thing to say.
that is really weird.
Really sussy.
How old were you when all this happened? Like, how old? Because I know, like, you said it's like 2014, so it's like,
I was 16 to 18.
Dang.
Now
holy shit.
now I'm going to be turning 21. Another thing too that still solidifies the whole smarminess with him is me and Zapshon, JSOL, and Sentry did like the Mad Lads podcast thing. We did a little podcast thingy, and we had Kelzad as a guest star. Where I think what our initial envisioning of it was, we criticized Kelzad for Realm stuff. Oh yeah, other stuff too. When he made Realm 4, one thing that happened was the soundtrack, the music didn't go all the way on to the end. I think as Kelzad originally wanted it to, and then like he said in VC that I like it though. That sounds a little bit. It sounds a little bit creepy though. I guess that works. Kelzad denied saying that. I said it on the podcast. Kelzad had a masking error when using swivel for the first realm, so like the ages kind of like walked out the door weird. And he said like, "Oh yeah, that wasn't an error. That was Elon fucking with the universe, making it look like that."
Wait, so like, he just like doesn't even deny like when he said the criticism, I thought you meant like criticism like on like his character, like him as a
No,
person. Like he just like denies like technical errors. That's sad. What the fuck?
It's so pedantic and like I think I recall that we tried not to do that much drama, even though I wanted it to be like unfiltered as much as possible. But when we were doing that episode with Kelzad, I think you said before the initial envisionment was that it's a part of it was Kelzad responding to the criticisms of Realm, or at least the stuff that we said about him. So like him clarifying that, and then the rest of it bantering. Most of it was just him like clarifying and defending himself. So
Damn.
afterwards, but the thing was like what really just solidifies his whole personality is just we in the after show in the call, I think Jaisol asked, "So are we pals again?" And I probably chimed in and like, "Yeah, are we friends again? Are we pals?" And then Kelzad's like, "I don't understand what you mean by that. Can you please explain it better? I just don't know what you mean by that." And I said, "Well, I got my answer." And Kelzad's like, "Well, okay."
Dang.
Little bitch.
I remember there was this one time when I was spamming Kelzad's live stream. This was back when I still went under Kudago69. It's back when I still went under as that. Yeah, I think I made a video where I showed I did that. It was like really, I found it really funny. I'm gonna see if I can find
Holy
it
shit,
actually.
they are still in admin VC. What the fuck?
Are you
How can
kidding me?
Oh my god, are they actually still in MVCC?
Yeah, no, it's Jib 15